Good morning to all. My name is Elvie Hernandez, a news anchor of Global News Network to bring you the breaking news for today. Welcome.
A day of devastation. The earthquake strikes. The earth trembled and Southeast Asia shuddered. On March 28, 2025, at 3:14 p.m. local time, a devastating earthquake ripped through the heart of Myanmar, sending shockwaves across the region. Registering a powerful 7.7 on the Richter scale, the quake's epicenter lay near the historic city of Mandalay, a place of cultural significance and vibrant life. This tremor, the Earth's violent shudder, became a stark reminder of nature's raw power and the fragility of human existence. The initial shockwave was just the beginning. A series of aftershocks, some registering as high as 6.4 on the Richter scale, continued to rattle the region in the hours that followed, sowing fear and wreaking havoc. The ground beneath Myanmar, Thailand, and parts of China became a rolling sea of instability, leaving behind a trail of destruction that painted a grim picture of the disaster's true scale. News of the earthquake spread quickly, carried on the back of frantic social media posts and breaking news alerts. The world watched in horror as images of collapsed buildings, shattered lives, and desperate rescue efforts emerged from the dust and debris. The initial reports hinted at a catastrophe of immense proportions, with the true extent of the damage still unfolding. As the sun set on that fateful day, casting long shadows over the ravaged landscape, the world held its breath. The full scope of the disaster was yet to be revealed, but one thing was tragically clear. Southeast Asia had been dealt a devastating blow, and the road to recovery would be long and arduous. The epicenter, Mandalay, and the heart of the disaster. Mandalay, the cultural heart of Myanmar, bore the brunt of the earthquake's fury. Located just 75 kilometers from the epicenter, this bustling city of over 1 million people was transformed within seconds from a vibrant hub of life into a scene of unimaginable devastation. Buildings, once symbols of the city's rich history and modern aspirations, crumbled into dust and rubble. The iconic Mas Soeana Monastery, a revered place of worship and a testament to Myanmar's architectural heritage, lay in ruins, its intricate carvings and golden stupas reduced to debris. The former royal palace, once home to kings and emperors, stood as a haunting reminder of the quake's destructive power, its once grand structures now scarred and broken. The Ava Bridge, a vital artery connecting Mandalay to the Irrawaddy River and beyond, collapsed under the strain, severing a crucial lifeline for the city and hampering rescue efforts. Across Mandalay, homes, hospitals, and schools were reduced to rubble, trapping countless people beneath the debris and leaving behind a trail of heartbreak and despair. The air, thick with dust and the smell of concrete, echoed with the frantic cries of survivors searching for loved ones amidst the ruins. First responders, many of them volunteers, worked tirelessly, their faces grim with determination as they raced against time to pull survivors from the wreckage. The heart of Myanmar, once beating with life, was now a scene of unimaginable loss and destruction, a stark reminder of the earthquake's merciless power. Myanmar's agony. A nation grapples with loss. The earthquake's devastation extended far beyond Mandalay, reaching into the very soul of Myanmar. In Naypyidaw, the nation's capital, buildings housing government offices lay in ruins, paralyzing administrative functions at a time when swift action was critical. A major hospital, overwhelmed by the influx of casualties, was declared a mass casualty area, its resources stretched thin by the sheer scale of the disaster. The ancient city of Sagaing, with its hundreds of monasteries and pagodas, suffered a similar fate. A 90-year-old bridge, a vital link across the Irrawaddy River, crumbled and fell, severing a critical transportation route and further isolating communities in desperate need of aid. The highway connecting Mandalay and Yangon, the nation's largest city, was severely damaged, hampering the delivery of essential supplies and medical aid to affected areas. In Taungoo, a city known for its vibrant markets and bustling trade, a mosque partially collapsed during evening prayers, killing 3 and injuring many others. The earthquake spared no one, striking at the heart of communities and leaving behind a trail of shattered lives and broken dreams. As darkness fell across Myanmar, the true scale of the disaster began to emerge. The death toll continued to rise, with early estimates exceeding 144 and the number of injured soaring past 732. Hospitals, overwhelmed with the injured and grappling with power outages and dwindling medical supplies, struggled to cope with the influx of patients. The nation, already grappling with political turmoil and economic hardship, was now facing an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. Beyond the borders, Thailand and China reel from the impact. The earthquake's tremors extended far beyond Myanmar's borders, reaching into neighboring Thailand and China, leaving a trail of destruction and fear in their wake. In Bangkok, Thailand's bustling capital, the quake's impact was felt with terrifying force. A 30-story high-rise building, still under construction, swayed precariously before collapsing into a cloud of dust and debris. The collapse trapped dozens of construction workers and sent shockwaves through the city, leaving at least 9 confirmed dead and over 90 missing. Emergency services rushed to the scene, their efforts hampered by the unstable structure and the risk of further collapses. The tragedy sent shockwaves through Thailand, a stark reminder of the earthquake's far-reaching impact. Across Bangkok, office towers swayed, triggering panic among office workers and forcing evacuations. The city's urban rail systems were temporarily closed as a precautionary measure, bringing the bustling metropolis to a standstill. The government declared a state of emergency, mobilizing resources to deal with the crisis and assess the extent of the damage. In China, the provinces of Yunnan and Sichuan bore the brunt of the earthquake's fury. In Ruili, a city in Yunnan located close to the Myanmar border, buildings shook violently, causing injuries and damaging homes. Further north, in Sichuan province, the quake's tremors caused additional damage and injuries, though the extent remained unclear due to communication disruptions. Section 5. A race against time rescue efforts and rising challenges. As the dust settled and the initial shock subsided, a desperate race against time began across the affected regions. Rescue workers, many of them volunteers, toiled tirelessly amidst the rubble, their faces etched with determination and fatigue. Every passing hour brought with it the grim reality that the window for finding survivors was rapidly closing. In Mandalay, rescue teams used heavy machinery and their bare hands to move mountains of concrete and twisted metal, their efforts hampered by aftershocks and the sheer scale of the devastation. Sniffer dogs, trained to detect the faintest scent of life, weaved through the debris, their handlers holding on to hope with each bark. The injured, many suffering from broken bones, head trauma, and crush injuries, overwhelmed hospitals and makeshift medical facilities. Doctors and nurses working tirelessly with limited supplies and facing constant power outages faced the heart-wrenching task of prioritizing patients and making life-or-death decisions. The lack of clean water, sanitation, and shelter exacerbated the already dire situation, raising concerns about the spread of diseases. The earthquake had not only claimed lives and destroyed homes, but had also created a breeding ground for a potential public health crisis. The international community responded swiftly, sending search and rescue teams, medical supplies, and humanitarian aid to the affected regions. Section 6. The shadow of conflict aid efforts hampered in Myanmar. As international aid began to pour into the affected regions, Myanmar's ongoing civil conflict cast a long shadow over relief efforts. The country's military junta, which seized power in a coup in 2021, faced accusations of hindering aid delivery to areas outside their control. The junta's grip on power, maintained through violence and repression, had plunged Myanmar into chaos and fueled a humanitarian crisis even before the earthquake struck. The disaster exacerbated existing tensions, with aid agencies struggling to navigate the complex political landscape and ensure that aid reached those most in need, regardless of their political affiliations. The junta's initial reluctance to accept international assistance further complicated relief efforts. While the military leadership eventually agreed to open routes for aid delivery, suspicions lingered that the aid might not reach those who needed it most, particularly in areas controlled by ethnic armed groups opposed to the junta. The earthquake, a natural disaster of immense proportions, had exposed the deep-seated political and humanitarian crisis gripping Myanmar. As the international community rallied to provide aid and support, the shadow of conflict continued to loom large, threatening to hinder relief efforts and deepen the suffering of those already bearing the brunt of the disaster. Section 7. A global response, the world unites in support. In the wake of the devastating earthquake, the international community responded with an outpouring of support and solidarity. Governments, aid organizations, and individuals from around the world mobilized resources, offering condolences and pledging assistance to the affected nations. The United Nations, through its various agencies, launched a massive humanitarian response, deploying search and rescue teams, medical personnel, and essential supplies to Myanmar, Thailand, and China. The UN Secretary-General issued a statement expressing his deep sadness at the loss of life and the scale of destruction, pledging the organization's full support in the relief and recovery efforts. The International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement activated its global network, sending medical teams, relief supplies, and logistical support to the disaster zone. The organization's expertise in disaster response and its neutral stance in conflict zones proved invaluable in navigating the complex situation in Myanmar. Countries around the world, from neighboring Southeast Asian nations to global powers, pledged financial aid, medical supplies, and technical expertise. Private companies and individuals also joined the relief efforts, donating generously to humanitarian organizations and organizing fundraising campaigns to support the affected communities. Section 8. Aftershocks and Uncertainty. The Long Road to Recovery. As the initial shock subsided and rescue efforts transitioned into the recovery phase, the affected regions faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives and communities. The physical scars of the earthquake ran deep, but the invisible wounds of trauma, loss, and displacement would take far longer to heal. The threat of aftershocks continued to loom large, keeping communities on edge and hindering reconstruction efforts. The psychological toll of the disaster, particularly on children who had witnessed unimaginable destruction and loss, added another layer of complexity to the recovery process. The long road to recovery would require not only rebuilding homes, schools, and hospitals, but also addressing the psychological and emotional needs of the survivors. Trauma counseling, psychosocial support, and community-based initiatives would be crucial in helping individuals and families cope with the aftermath of the disaster and rebuild their lives. The earthquake had exposed the vulnerabilities of the region's infrastructure, highlighting the need for stricter building codes and disaster preparedness measures. Investing in early warning systems, strengthening infrastructure, and promoting disaster risk reduction strategies would be essential in mitigating the impact of future disasters. Section 9. Echoes of the Quake, a stark reminder of nature's power. The devastating earthquake of March 28, 2025, served as a stark reminder of the immense power of nature and the fragility of human existence. The disaster left an indelible mark on Southeast Asia, claiming thousands of lives, destroying countless homes and livelihoods, and leaving behind a trail of trauma and uncertainty. The earthquake's echoes will continue to reverberate long after the rubble has been cleared and the physical scars have begun to heal. The disaster highlighted the importance of international cooperation, the need for effective disaster preparedness measures, and the enduring resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As the affected nations embark on the long and arduous journey of recovery, the global community must stand in solidarity, offering sustained support and assistance to help rebuild lives, communities, and hope from the ruins. The earthquake served as a tragic reminder that we are all interconnected and that our collective response to such disasters will shape the future for generations to come.
Thank you for watching this breaking news of Global News Network. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below for more news. This is Karen Hernandez Lim wishing you all a pleasant days ahead. Goodbye and see you on the next one.